Hey everyone, James and Megan here, coming to you from Spectora. Just wanted to take some time to bust some myths. And those myths are about V10, aka NextGen. It's our app that we've been working on for quite a while now. There's a lot of things out there on the internet, maybe people talking to you over the phone, that may or may not be true. And so we wanted to take some time with Megan, who's been kind of leading the charge on the product side with V10, to just go through some of these myths, bust some of the misconceptions that are out there, and also bring some truths to the matter, just so you guys understand kind of where things stand. So, Megan, great to have you here. Say hello.
Hey, Al.
All right. All right. So, first myth, Megan. People are maybe thinking out there, maybe there's a conception out there that we're just building V10 for fun. There's actually no reason that we've decided to move from one app version to the other. So is that true?
No, that's absolutely not true. Something like this is not something we take on lightly or anything like that. When you talk about something like building a whole new app, you have to imagine everything that goes into it. It's a massive lift. It's a huge change for our users. It's something that takes a lot of internal time. So we would never just jump into that willy-nilly and just kind of throw our energy towards that. We're building this because our old app is on what we call a dying ecosystem. So when we started, we built this app on a technology that at the time was really great, but technology moves really quickly. And now at this point, the technology we built the old app on is aging. Things like cameras, keyboards, all these different things you rely on in the app are not updating it to support that old technology. And so the old app is just dying out slowly. So anytime your phone updates, the app is staying the same. And that means we are not rising with the technology and you're going to see more issues come up. So it's one of those things that we definitely did not take lightly. Honestly, I would love to not have to rebuild our whole app. I think it's something that it's a lot easier if we didn't, but it's something that we really want to make sure for you all that you have a technology you can rely on moving forward. Growthless technology is something that we can really depend on for the rest of time.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for dispelling that one. Next one is people are saying out there that maybe Spectora isn't even focused on V10 and not putting much effort into it, and we're spending our resources on building other products. Is that true?
So it's true and it's not true in that we do have other things going on. I'm not going to say there's nothing else that we've pushed or there's no other things going towards resources, but there are a lot of other projects that are going at the same time. So we have something called a pod structure where we have different product managers like myself who are working on different areas. So we have people who work on advanced and those back office tools. We have people who work on some of our add-ons, and then we have the largest group of developers working on our core product, including the mobile app. We've hired more mobile developers. We've put a lot of resources on this, a lot of effort into this. It's something that we're not taking lightly or not doing. But not all of our developers can work on that, and not all our developers should work on that. There's such things as too many cooks in the kitchen. If we had every single person on our team on that, it would probably get very messy very quickly. So you might see other things moving at the same time, but it doesn't mean we don't have a true, real focus on getting this app ready.
Fantastic. That's great to know. Next myth, V10 is just completely different from the app that everybody has been using in the past, the legacy app. I know we called it NextGen originally, and that may have given people a bit of a thought that this is going to be a completely different app and you're going to have to learn everything from the ground up. Is that really true?
So that's not true at all. It's something that we look back and we reflected on the name NextGen and decided it really wasn't a good name for it. So if you hear V10, all that means is it's version 10 of the app. The last one was version 9 of the app. And the reason we're just saying it's just the next version up is because that's all it really is. It's the same UX. You have the buttons in the same place. You have generally the same flow. It's going to be like a little bit of a transition, but the app does the same things and it's the same workflow you know and love, just with a refreshed look and better technology. There's also a few feature updates, but again, it's going to feel a lot like the other one, and it's not something where you have to make some massive jump. Most people say it takes a couple inspections before they feel like they're fully back up to speed, so it's not some huge relearning.
Awesome. That's, I'm sure, great for everybody to know and hear. Next one that we're hearing out there is just V10 hasn't been worked on. It's just stagnant, sitting there. Bugs aren't getting fixed. There's really no effort going into it. Is that really the case?
Not at all. So like I said before, we have been putting in additional resources for V10. We have 3 full-time developers working on it right now. And then we also have people working on the web, working on all this stuff. A lot of times I'll see people who tried V10 something like, I don't know, 2 years ago, and they're talking about issues which definitely happened. I totally understand how that experience might have scared them or made them hesitant. Like, I wouldn't be one to say that's not a fair experience. But if they're talking about something and warning someone else against trying the app because of that, It's probably not the case anymore. We sent out 300 changes. We've made all these different updates. We fixed all these different things. And while there are still some bugs, which we can talk about later, it's still something where we've made so many updates that your experience a year ago probably is going to be experienced now. So it's not stagnant, constantly moving, constantly changing, and we're listening and want more feedback.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And then next up is another one where, and I can understand where people may get confused with this, but is the V10 app really just there for advanced customers? So we have kind of our base platform and then we have our advanced. Is this just for advanced or is this for everybody?
This is for everybody. So V10 is something that's not under any kind of paywall, anything like that. I don't know how that one got out. I can understand someone might look at something new and think it's with advanced, so totally makes sense. I had a few people who were like, oh, I didn't move over. I thought I had to pay for it. And that's not the case at all. We just want to create a better app. It doesn't come with any kind of pay increase or any kind of rate increase to use this new product.
That's good to know. That's good to know. Next one is just nobody who's ever used V10 really likes it at all. It's not a great experience and everybody ends up switching back. Is that what's really playing out in the numbers when we look at this?
So that's, again, a myth that's not actually the case. There are some people who have tried it and have gone back. That's definitely still true, where people might prefer the old app or there might be things that they run into. So it's something where that has happened, but we are seeing a ton of people convert to V10 and really enjoy it. We have a lot of advocates for it. People who say they'd never even consider going back, and they look at the legacy app, they're like, oh my gosh, I like this. So I like my new app so much more. We have about 26% of our inspections happening on it right now, with over 1,000 companies on it. And we have some of the biggest companies in the industry who are using V10 entirely for all their inspections. So it's not something where we're seeing, hey, we've got 5 guys who are on it and the rest of them move back. We're seeing consistent people going over, converting, and enjoying the app and sticking with it.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And then the next one, which I think is one of those things that's out there, and it's, you can kind of see why people might say it, but are we out there actually breaking the old legacy app just to get people over to V10? Or are we actually making sure that the legacy app is still a functioning app?
So again, that's a myth. It's something that we would never want to do to people. Our biggest goal is to give you good technology and make a platform that you really want to use. So for us making that worse, that's a terrible thing for us to do. It doesn't align with our incentives, it doesn't align with your incentives. We want to give you the best technology, and breaking our old app is not what that is. Like I mentioned before, the reason we're rebuilding this old app is because it's on this dying technology. So as your phone updates, there is a chance new issues will arise, unfortunately. And that's why we're doing this. So it's not something where we're purposely making it worse. It's that the reason we're switching over is happening, basically, behind the scenes. And we have still made updates to legacy app. I think we've really shot ourselves in the foot when we talk about the legacy app. Sometimes we say we're not maintaining it. But what not maintaining it means is different than completely leaving it or trying to make it worse or anything like that. We've actually fixed a number of bugs in the past couple of years. And I will say that there are things that are limiting with the legacy app. So because of the way it's coded, it's not always something we can fix. There are things in the base of the code that just are not something we can repair in this version, which is another reason we built the legacy app. But we have made a lot of improvements we built the V10 app. But there are still a lot of reasons that we made improvements and a lot of things we have fixed on it. Our goal with it is basically to try to fix all of the world-breaking bugs that might come up, make sure it's still running until we're ready to make this switch. And when we say we're not maintaining, we just say that we're not making new features and we're not fixing smaller issues. So we're trying to focus all of our energy where we can actually make the most difference, which is V10.
Great. So those are some of the myths that are out there, but we also want to fess up. There's some truths that we want to tell and make sure that really people understand that, this has been a process for us. And there's a lot that goes into an app being launched. You have to imagine all the different devices everyone uses, all the complexity that comes from that versus just going to a website, right? There's a lot to it. So I guess the first truth that's, out there and we want to talk about it is we missed our original launch date with this one.
Yeah, that's completely true. It's something so early on the project, we really didn't have a good idea of what rebuilding a whole app would look like. We looked at the original timeline when we built V1 of Spectora, which looking back is not a good milestone. Between V1 of Spectora and V9 of Spectora, we made hundreds of updates over years and years and years. We made improvements, we got new customers, all this kind of stuff. So when we're looking at the timeline for V1, it's just not a representative nature of what rebuilding this whole app after all the 9 versions would look like. So early on, we set a date, we sent it over to marketing, and then we decided internally we weren't going to keep the date, and we forgot to tell marketing. This was before we had James, our lovely head of marketing at the time. And it got out there basically where we had this date and everyone was like, oh my gosh, they're pushing us over. It really freaked people out. It was something that we really reflect on. We're like, oh, that was a huge miss on our end. So after that, we've been very careful not to set another date until we're totally confident that this is going to be the app. It's going to be a better experience across the board. It's going to be a consistent experience. It's going to be something that you all are really excited to use. And so we did miss our original launch date. I've heard some people say you've missed 5 or 6 launch dates. We've specifically not set a launch date just because we don't want to miss that again and freak people out and make you worried or anything like that. But it is something, it's taken longer than we expected. We totally own that. There's things that we would have done differently. And yeah, it's something that we're still working on and we really plan to keep moving very soon.
Fantastic. So the next one, I guess the question is, are there still bugs in V10?
Yeah, there are totally still bugs like there is in any technology. So no technology is going to be perfectly bug-free, and we've gotten way better with time. We have way better consistent experiences. People are rating it better. People are having a better time. And yes, there are still users who are running into issues, and we're working to make sure that stops happening, basically. The goal is to reduce those issues as much as possible. And even in the end, there's still going to be bugs, but the goal is to make it a really consistently good experience where those bugs aren't happening. And at this point, good news is bugs aren't stopping people from completing inspections. They're not saying that they can't physically do anything. They're completing their inspections, but there might be some areas of the experience that still need to be improved, and we still are working on that. And that's why we have this full team of developers who are spending all their times to make this better and make sure it keeps moving. And that's one of the great things about using V10 is you get to see it moving, changing, evolving. You can see your feedback go into it instead of being a little bit stuck like you might be with the legacy app where you have that same issue continually for a very long period of time.
So talking about bugs and kind of challenges that people may have been having, let's talk about the web editor. Are there issues there?
Yes, definitely there are still issues with the web editor. I'll be the first to say that the web editor is still, I don't think, a great experience. I think that there's a lot of room for improvement there. It's something that we know about, something that we've heard about. We know that there's still some issues with it moving a little bit slower, showing data a little bit slower. We've already sent out multiple changes for that, but we're still working and have multiple developers looking into this and making sure it's a good experience. We also have our wonderful product designer, Jeff, who's taken a look and making updates to it so you don't have that same kind of clunk and jankiness where things might pop around or it might feel a little bit stalled or the multiple scroll bars could be confusing. So we're making a lot of improvements on it, and we hope very soon it will actually feel like V10 of the web editor. We'll keep you posted on those, but it is something, again, I'm not going to try to put, I don't know, a bow on a pig. I don't know what that expression is. I think I messed that up. But whatever it is, I'm not going to try to lie to anyone. I just want to be honest and make sure people know exactly what's going on.
Really appreciate that.
I think it's lipstick on a pig.
Yeah, lipstick on a pig. That's fine. It's close enough. I'm sure it looks nice with a bow. Anything else that like truths or myths we haven't covered that we want to hit on in this video before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think the last one for this one is just the process there. We have a lot of people who are worried that when we switch out the app, we're just going to say next week, hey, the legacy app's going away. You guys all have to move. We're pushing you over. And that's just not something that's aligned with us. That's not something that we do to you. Again, our goal is to give you the most value from our product, make sure you feel confident, make sure you feel good. And so when we do decide to make the V10 app, the default, what's going to happen is, again, it's called the default app for a reason. It will be the app that we tell people as our primary app for Spectora. When we do that, people will have the option to move over, but they'll also have the option to stay on the legacy app. And we'll keep that legacy app going until we're absolutely confident that across the board, V10 is going to provide you a better experience. So we're never just going to yank the rug out from you. It's not something that is good for us. It's not something that's good for you. It's something that we are aligned with you in trying to give you the best, fastest, easiest software in the industry. So that's our only goal. We have no weird ulterior motives. I swear we're not trying to sabotage anything. This is just where we're at. Oh, also the V10 app can sync offline. I've heard some rumors that there's been some talk about how people think it can't sync offline. It absolutely can, and I'd like to make that very clear.
Appreciate that as well. So fantastic. I think, that's it for this video. It's our goal to continue to be transparent and open with you guys as we go through the process of really all the developments at Spectora. So really appreciate you taking the time to listen. Megan, thank you so much for busting some of these myths. giving me an excuse to make a ridiculous cutout of our heads and put them on the Mythbusters that we'll be using for this. But very excited to see kind of where V10 goes. Really appreciate all of our customers really giving us the feedback and understanding as we go. So thank you so much. Definitely, if you haven't tried V10 yet, it's worth going for and giving it a shot. You might be one of the people that sticks with it. I think a lot of people are right now.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, James. Appreciate you all, and keep us posted. If you do try it, give us the feedback. We want to hear everything that you feel. And yeah, we're really excited to keep building good technology for you.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.